If I were a rich man, yabba buddy 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 ba-dum. All day long I'd biddy biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. And working hard is what I have done. In the video game Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Now, this will be a quick review. I am not going to be talking about any of the DLCs, such as Blade of Galadriel. I'm going to be talking about the base game in its entirety, because that's what's important. I will also touch on briefly some of the online features, but broadly speaking, it's not super duper important, if I'm being honest. Shadow of War is a beautifully flawed game. It takes the concept of, stealthy, attacky, use the environment to your advantage type of thing that Assassin's Creed has done and did it better. There is even Odyssey, even Valhalla, the most recent games, do not compare in the slightest to the gameplay in this. And it was also propped up by the amazing Nemesis system. Just staying quiet and watching orcs or Uruks interact with each other there's plenty of auto-generated, really funny and interesting dialogue. The way the orcs engage with each other is quite hilarious and definitely worth your time. Also, the Nemesis system is, quite verbose and fun, and it leads to you never really knowing when or how things are gonna get fucky. But even so. I will say, but to talk about why it's a beautifully flawed game, is in the first game, you would fight the same dude over and over. Over time, there'd be an Uruk that you would fight and kill, or would kill you, and you'd see them a whole bunch. They would basically become your biggest nemesis. And I distinctly remember fighting, and killing this motherfucker repeatedly over the course of the game. And then he was the final person, one of the final people I faced at the climax of said game. Now here's the thing. There are so many so many maps, and there's so many orcs for just to use simpler nomenclature, that if I'm being completely honest, they showed someone towards a part of the climax, or the not the end, but the climax, the middle part of the game, that I'm who the fuck is this guy? I don't even remember him. And that's unfortunate, because that was such a really, really cool thing. But aside from that, the Nemesis system definitely puts its work in, and it's wonderful. No notes aside from that. Talion, the main character, is a bit dim. Not in the sense he's not smart, but just he's uninteresting. He's bland. But if I'm being honest, the story of Talion and, him trying to, save Mordor from, from falling to Sauron, failing, I might add, by the end of it. It's not it's not terribly important, the story. It's just the gameplay that sustains you is so good that Middle-earth: Shadow of War is one of those games that has such good gameplay that the story is you can pay attention if you want, but you don't really have to care. It's like GTA. It's just are you having fun? Now, do I wish that it had a more compelling story? Absolutely. Do I wish that they didn't just shoehorn Golem into the shit? Fuck yeah. Why did they make, Shelob a dark, brooding, big, buxom ass woman? Why is the spider bad as shit? I do not know, but they did that, and it was a choice on their part, and I don't understand. Regardless, at the end of the day, the gameplay is the after getting through like the first arc. There's 3-ish arcs of the game. There is there's the I believe like something like the Siege of Minas Ithil. There is the siege of whatever the fuck Sauron's tower's name is, and then there is the Shadow Wars. Shadow Wars being the reason why it took 150 years for Sauron to invade Middle-earth and start his plans that we see in the events of Lord of the Rings. Mostly that it is in the reason, mostly like preventing him from doing anything before the Hobbit happens. The events of Middle-earth: Shadow of War and Middle-earth: Shadows of Mordor, the prior game, to be clear, take place after Bilbo has taken the Ring of Power from Gollum, but before the Lord of the Rings. So this is kind of like why the explanation as to why a non-canon explanation as to why the forces of Sauron weren't just marching on and causing more havoc externally. Regardless, the actual combat is very, it's very early Assassin's Creed. You're getting up close and personal. You're comboing. You're doing that. You're being stealthy. You're trying to hide. Over time, as you unlock, just by doing the story and achieving certain goals and doing certain things, you unlock the ability to do things like teleport with, like when you shoot an arrow at something. You can teleport to that location. You can also summon allies to help you, because one of the features of the game is basically bending orcs to your will by palming their face or some shit with light. And what this results in is you being able to control armies of orcs and summon with special powers like beasts and orcs to come fight for you while you siege, and this is the giant spectacle main thing of the game, sieging strongholds of orcs and making sure to take out war chiefs that are pillars of the said stronghold is very important, because if you don't, it's going to be a lot more of your soldiers and a lot more of your captains who you've turned are going to die, because the more war chiefs you take out of the strongholds that you siege with a giant army of siege beasts and everything. It's really a cool spectacle. But if you don't do that, if you don't take out the war chiefs ahead of time, the amount of defenses that they have are going to make your life a lot easier, and they will kill you. From things like a captive dragon guarding the gate to burn you to smithereens if you try and break through, to lava coming down the sides of the walls, preventing your orcs from climbing over, to giant Guroks, which are these giant ape reptile-like things that they attach catapults to those shooting different types of blight and ice and shit on you. There's a lot of stealth and setup before you can go into the fortresses and attack them and fight the Overlord. Defeating the Overlord grants you control over the region, but I digress. At the end of the day, the Overlords are really, really cool, because the whole process of this, I said it rather flippantly, but I want to be clear that to take over an entire area, you start with nothing. there's probably 20 captains, like there's probably like 10, like there's probably like 15 to 20, like 16 to 20 captains that you have to either kill or turn to your side, preferably turn, so that way you can have more of a presence of the region. To then, once that's taken care of, you then have to go over after the war chiefs, and then once you go after the war chiefs, then after you've like either taken them out or turn them to your side, then you can go and start the siege. But you have to do all of this. But before you can do all that, you have to get intel on each and every individual person that you have to get. It is very much a spy like espionage recon stuff. Like, you have to do this or you can't start the war. So it's very like thematic and realistic in that way. With Wraith Ghost magic aside. The flow of the gameplay is so good in that regard that it's I could tell you what the story is about, like something saving like what the Midas Mogul from which is what it turns into eventually. Spoiler, like the fucking City of the Dead or some shit was originally Gondorian city, and it's not now. You also have like fucking I don't know, and you're just trying to get the Gondorians out of there and save them or some shit. Then you're like trying to get ready to go fight and kill Sauron, and then you don't. Shit happens. The Italian just spends the next 80 years or something, like, putting off Sauron until, he, like, falls or some shit. So, in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to say a spoiler. Please fast forward 30 seconds to avoid spoilers. Okay. So, one of the interesting things that I want to note about this game is that if you remember the siege of Gondor from the second movie, the chick that the ring wraith that gets killed, that's Talion, because that is basically who Talion turns into after he's been under the influence of Ring of Power under the thing of Sauron, after the wraith that's in him betrays him, basically. So yeah, spoilers. So spoilers are now over. I just a little tidbit I wanted to share about the story. Lastly, I want to say one of the last criticisms I have of this game is that it had an awesome online mode where you could just siege other players online, and it was fun. It was actually really, really fun and awesome, and you could like steal their guys and shit. It was great. The problem is that doesn't really exist anymore. WB shut down their server, so I don't believe that online mode is even available anymore, which really sucks if I'm being honest. It's a gigantic bummer, and it just, I don't know, that fact makes me really sad, because like it just, if you wanted to just siege some motherfuckers, you could just do it. Because like once you had taken over the principal fort itself, you could just go to the online siege thing and just repeatedly fight to your heart's content. It was great, and I miss it a lot, and they really need to bring that back. Anywho, Middle-earth: Shadow of War is an excellent game that is 110% worthy of your time, and you definitely should play it. If you haven't played the previous game, that's okay. If you care about story at all, by all means, go for it. It'll make the story in this game make a lot more fucking sense, if I'm being honest. But the gameplay in this game has been in Middle-earth: Shadow of War has been refined since its predecessor. That like if you're just gonna play it for the gameplay, you better off playing this by a country fucking mile. I promise you, it is worth your time. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Thank you so very much for listening. I appreciate you so much. Now, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Your boy's in some dire financial straits. If you haven't already done so, please consider joining my Discord and joining my community. Links should be in the descriptions. And once you've done that, if you want more content, please consider becoming a Discord server, buying a membership, a paid membership to the server. You get access to custom content, early access content. You get access to this. You're able to use our soundboard, which has some wonderfully funny effects on it. You get access to more exclusive content. You also get a guaranteed place at the Winston Cup. Especially in exclusive events. Lot of great stuff. It costs $3.99 a month, and it genuinely helps. It goes to me because I'm fucking unemployed right now, working in between jobs. It also goes to my moderators too, and helps them and compensates them for the work that they've done to help me with my server, and I appreciate them a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.